everyone, I'm Leslie. Welcome to my channel. I thrifted this little jewelry box for $5.99 and it's been sitting in my craft room. I finally decided what I wanted to do with it, so let's give it a makeover. Let's take the top off and give it a good cleaning. I took the glass out and washed it because we're going to be doing a technique with it later. I kept all my little screws and hinges in a cup so I wouldn't lose them and gave everything a good cleaning. Even the lining, which I thought I was going to take out, but the lining ended up being okay because there was no rips or anything. So I took the time to cover that real well, and I just used painter's tape and covered all the lining. I took it outside and gave it 2 coats of Mod Podge in the matte sealer. Here I took Re-Design's Mold Angelic Aura. I wanted the 2 cherubs, one for each side of the jewelry box. So I poured those in resin. Here I'm using Re-Design's Blooming Banners, and I'm going to make a little label for the front of my jewelry box. And I'm going to be taking my stamps. It's the apothecary labels, and I want to spell out hers, and I'll stamp it into the clay. This Re-Design mold has 4 labels on it, so I just chose one that would fit on the front. They have so much detail. They're absolutely gorgeous. And you can pour those out of resin too if you want. Now this is an IOD product, apothecary labels. And I'm going to take the little typeset, it's the small one, and I want to press them into the clay, and I want it to spell out hers. I'll be taking one letter at a time. I'm not going to put it on a backing. I'm just going to use each little letter. And you want to press firm. See, right there, I just kind of space them out how I want them. And then I'll take one at a time and press kind of firm. You want to make a good impression, but you don't want to smash too hard. The good thing about that is if it doesn't turn out, you can always wad it up and start over with a fresh clay label. Now here I'm just taking my little paint thing, and I don't even know what you call that, but I'm taking that and I'm cutting off the bottom under the label so it will fit on the drawer. Actually, it's going right above the drawer, and if anything was hanging down, you wouldn't be able to open it. So I didn't need, it was just a couple of flower pieces, so I went ahead and just took those off. Here I'm just applying my, it's Type Bond Quick and Thick, and I love this glue. It works really well. So I'm just applying that all over the back, and then I'm going to place it where I want it, and kind of hold it down a little bit. I'm going to use some painter's tape just to hold it in place so it don't slide off, because I will be moving it around and doing other work. So my resin angels have cured, and so I've got those. I'm going to put one on each side, and I'll use the Type Bond Quick and Thick and get those put down, and I'll also tape those in place so they don't slide around. All right, once my little angels were glued and taped in place, now I'm going to take that same mold, Angelic Aura by Re-Design, and I'm going to cast several of the little rosebuds, and it's little rosebuds and leaves. And that is the lid that the little mirror goes in. And so I want the same little roses to go all the way around this wood piece. Once I have all my rose castings, I know exactly how I want them placed. So now I'm going to take my Tight Bond Quick and Thick and get those all glued down. I won't tape these down because they're small and they are not going to curl up or anything. What I'll do is I'll just set that aside and let it dry. Now I'm going to be taking my modeling paste, and that is a product. It's by, let's see here. It's by Master's Touch. I got it from Hobby Lobby, and it's a modeling paste, and I'm going to do the raised stencil effect. This is my first time to try this, y'all. I had a heck of a time. I love it. I love the results. But let me tell you where I went wrong. I should have done that first before I glued down my my castings, my angel castings. It would have been so much easier if I didn't have to work around that. Live and learn. Next time I'll know better. But I love this technique. I love the effect it gives. So y'all have a good laugh at me struggling with this. And yes, I got more on my hand than I did on the stencil. I'm hoping it gets easier each time you do it. You get a little better at it. That's what I'm hoping anyway. This is a little stencil I bought off of Amazon. It's French writing. It's like it's a letter. Same thing here. I wish I would have done this before I glued down my applique. But that's all right. It worked out good. I just had to let it dry before I could move to the center and add more to it. I honestly thought when I first started trying to do this that when I raised the stencil that it was just going to be a big mess. But it wasn't. I was really, I was shocked, but it turned out really good. Here I will be taking my modeling paste and a chip brush, and I'm just going to randomly all over the jewelry box, I'm going to apply in a stippling motion around the appliques and in the bare spots. I don't want to put it too much over the raised stenciling, a little bit, but you don't want to mess that up. So as you can see here, I'm just kind of going around the edges and in the blank spots and stippling. Once I was done applying the modeling paste, I set those pieces aside to let them dry. Now I'm taking the little glass insert and I have my stencil taped down, and I'm going to take a soft brush and my Rust-Oleum chalk paint linen white. I'm going to give it 2 coats. I'll put 1 coat down and then I'm going to let that dry real well, and I'll put a second or third coat, whatever it takes. And this is the same stencil I used on the sides of the jewelry box. Here I'm just giving it a dry. And once I had all my coats down, I peel the stencil up. When that paint was dry, I took it outside. I gave it 4 coats of Krylon Looking Glass. It's a mirror effect. And now I'm just distressing it. You can take off as much or as little as you want. I want mine to have a really distressed look. So I'm scraping up till I'm satisfied with it. Now I'm taking some gold paint, and where the paint is scratched up, I'm filling in, I'm just dabbling the gold paint, and I'll also be using DIY clay-based paint in the color Layered Chocolate, and I'll be going over the back of that also. One thing I want to add, if you sand or scratch up more than you want on that, you can always respray the looking glass. Now, once this is good and dry, I'm going to set that aside. Now it's time to start painting my jewelry box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime it. I'm just using gesso. It's just something I get from Hobby Lobby. I use it on my canvas paintings. It's a basic acrylic and it's called gesso, and it's a good primer. I want this to have several layers of paint, like chippy old paint. Next, I'm taking DIY in letterpress gray, and I'm going to give the whole jewelry box a coat of that. Then I'll be taking Little Black Dress DIY paint, and I'm going to go over, just randomly dab it in areas and give it just another layer of paint, and it's just random spots. That gray letterpress gray goes on dark, but it dries to a beautiful color. Next, I'm going to be taking my Dixie Belle Sea Spray, and I'm going to just randomly spread it in clumps all around my mold, or next to my mold, over the black paint, over the gray paint. This is going to be a paint resist. And once I get it as much as I want, I'm going to mist it so it kind of just wet it so it stays in place. And I'm going to let that dry. But I'm going to do this all over the jewelry box in random spots. I wanted my white paint to be a little more of a creamy color, so I took my Rust-Oleum linen white. I mixed a little bit of layered chocolate in it, stirred it real well. Now I'm taking my chip brush and I'm taking just globs of that paint and laying it over the sea spray clumps. And then I'm going to dry my brush a little bit and I'll dry brush over all the other areas. I'll continue to do this technique over the whole jewelry box. Once the white was dry, now I'm taking Waverly in the color moss and I'm going to dry brush all over the jewelry box, over the castings, in between, all over. Don't overthink it. Just let it go random and it will turn out perfect. Once the green was dry, now you're going to take random tools, whatever you got. I have this little paint spatula thing, a screwdriver. I have a toothbrush there that's kind of a firm bristle. And you want to just take off layers and you that's what the sea spray was for. Now just go in those areas where you sprinkled the sea spray and kind of chip those up and you'll see all the layers of paint. I wanted this piece to have a really old world look, like just layers of chip paint, crusty. I just love that look. This was such a fun project for me. I love it. Now, once I was satisfied with the chippiness, I'm going to take my Dixie Belle patina paint and I'm using the color, I believe it's called iron. Yes, just the patina paint in the color iron. And if you use the green spray with the iron, you get the rust color. So I'm going to take that and you want to stir it real well because all those little metal flakes settle to the bottom. So be sure you stir it real well so you get the effect. Now I'm just going to randomly go all around my castings and on the casting. And I'm going to, you put one coat and let that dry. And then you go back and you want to put the spray on a wet coat. So I just go around the edge randomly and then I spray it and I apply heat to it and to kind of dry it a little bit. Plus it makes it react quicker. Now I'm going to go around all my castings, around the little rose flowers, and I'm going to do the same steps. I just want to add this little note to that. When you're putting that iron paint on, it looks dark, and it is dark. But it will, once you put the green spray on, it will lighten up and it will look like rust. It's perfect. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my layered chocolate paint and I'm just going to dry brush. It kind of help, another layer of paint that help bring out the details. And I will do that layered chocolate dry brushing over the raised stenciling, over the molds, over the edges. You'll just kind of just randomly dry brush over everything. I just want to point out here what I was talking about. As you can see on the castings, it just looks like a dark halo around the casting. And that's because it hasn't had time to fully react. And now, after I've been finished with it for several hours, you can look at it now and it's just a soft, rusty color. It's not that dark halo anymore. Well, you can't have Old World Charm and not have your gold highlights. I'm using the Paint Couture Luxe Metallic Paint in the color bronze, and I'm going to dry brush all over everything, molds, everything. Now I'm going to seal, and I'm going to be using my Minwax polyacrylic water-based sealer. I want to give everything a good seal. Once I give it a good coat of sealer and it dries, now it's time to take the tape off and start putting our jewelry box back together. I think the green liner ended up being perfect. The colors all went together really great. Once I get my jewelry box back together and the glass in it, now I'm going to be taking my Paint Couture in Van Dyke Brown, and I want to give it a coat of antiquing all around. I just work this in sections. I use a wet wipe to pull back on the antiquing glaze. I like it in the low spots and wipe away on the high spots, and it accents everything, all the raised stenciling, the molds. It just adds so much to it. Once I'm satisfied with the antiquing glaze, this project is complete. I absolutely love it. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button and please consider subscribing to my channel and help it grow. Thank you so much.